Hello everyone, I'm John Chun. Welcome to Sharing Vietnam. As some of you may know, the beautiful Danube River flows through the plains of Europe. Along the bank of this river are many beautiful cities, the most prominent one being Budapest, the capital city of Hungary, also considered the Pearl of the Danube. Today in our program, we will have the chance to talk with a guest from this beautiful location. I would like to introduce Mr. Istvan Leonard, Economic Counselor of Hungary Embassy in Vietnam. He will share many interesting things about his life, his country, and the relationship between Hungary and Vietnam. Mr. Istvan, pleasure to join us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Before we begin, here's a clip about our guest.
Mr. Istvan is a very active guy, so it's very hard to compete against him. He does all kinds of sports, running, tennis, swimming, so it's very tough to beat him. He's always focused on winning the game, so we have fun playing tennis together, but he's a very competitive, very hard to beat, very tough guy.
Hello everyone and welcome back. So Mr. Istvan, we saw from the video clips about your daily life, but as economic counselor, what's your job like?
My job is actually heading the trade section of the Hungarian embassy. It means that I'm responsible for all the delegations coming from Hungary related to any economic activity. So time to time I have high-rank delegations from my country. I accompany them, organize business events, seminars, forums for them.
I see.
I also help Hungarian companies to enter the Vietnamese market with investment purposes and also help trade relations between the two countries.
I see. And then, as you know, Vietnam and Hungary has a long, good relationship. And you've lived and worked here in Vietnam, so have you seen any similarities between your home country and here?
Yeah, actually there are a lot of similarities. In first place, I would say the friendly behavior and the hospitality of people is quite similar in the two countries. So Hungarians, like Vietnamese, also very friendly. They like to have guests at their houses, and this is the first similarity. But let me mention just two other things, not so evident maybe. Firstly, about language. Hungarian language is a very specific one. They sometimes call it an island language, which means that it has nothing to do with the languages nearby Hungary, not to the Slavic languages, no connection to the Indo-European ones. Our language is somewhat similar to Finnish and Estonian and some other languages, but we are a kind of island in the heart of Europe. And I think quite similarly, Vietnamese language is a sort of island.
I would agree as well. And so, similarities now, differences, there obviously are differences.
About differences, of course, food is different. Actually, Vietnamese food is very healthy. We Hungarians like to eat a lot, very fatty and quite unhealthy food. It's delicious, by the way, but it's not as healthy as Vietnamese food.
Just like us Americans.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we're going to jump into your work now, but before we begin, here's a clip about Vietnam and Hungary.
And if you love the wrong person, you gotta live with that.
The beautiful Hungary is located on the main road between Eastern Europe and the Balkan Island, which is well known for the romantic and long river Danube and Tisza, together with outstanding great architecture along the banks. can be said that Vietnam and Hungary have a good traditional relation as well as cooperation. In Hungary, there are more than 3,000 Vietnamese people living, studying and working. Let them sell the important bridge for the relation of two countries. Currently, the cooperation between countries is strongly developing in many fields, such as economy, country, education and society as well. In 2011, Vietnam and Hungary have celebrated 61 years of diplomatic relation. It marks a milestone in cooperation between countries.
Made a mistake, baby.
Hello everyone and welcome back. So Mr. Istvan, the commercial relationship between Vietnam and Hungary made some progress but still very modest. How do you assess this?
I would tell you some figures. The bilateral trade between the two countries is below 100 million US dollars. It varies from time to time from 70 million to 90 million. Last year our turnover was within the limit of 100 million USD. However, the numbers are quite good this year. I just checked the latest statistics from the first half of the year, and actually the two countries had an increase in the bilateral trade by 13%.
Wow.
And good for Vietnam that the exports from Vietnam to Hungary increased by 30%, 30. So I think it gives us hope to further develop the relations.
So in your opinion, why this change? What prompted this growth?
I think that maybe due to the work of the two countries' business society and also the state administration, the relations are growing, and I can see and experience in Hungary a growing interest towards Vietnam in the last, let's say, 3 or 4 years. Previously, not many Hungarian companies were very keen on coming, but in recent years, in the last 3 years, we can really experience an increase in this number.
And specifically, what fields or industry are we seeing most growth, and what do you see the most potential for?
We have some key sectors, and we identified them. 3 or 4 sectors are prominent in this regard. Firstly, I would mention pharmaceuticals. This is the base of our export today, and we have some space to develop further. Besides pharmaceuticals and also food supplements, I would tell foodstuff, Hungarian food, meats, dairy products and other foodstuff is very important. In the future we are going to focus in agricultural projects.
I see.
As well as agricultural technologies. And last but not least, let me mention the alternative energy sector, from solar power to wind power. We are very optimistic in this field and see a potential in the Vietnamese market.
I see. And so this growth in trade between the two countries, I guess it's a part of you know, promoting trade, which is kind of what your job responsibility is. And so could you give us an idea of what you've been working on?
Surely, we work on the promotion of Hungarian companies. We just had a state visit last week. On the 21st of September, we had a Hungarian business seminar on which we introduced some Hungarian technologies, mainly in solar technology and in fire extinguishing technologies.
I see.
But this is only a first step of a kind of roadshow. We are planning jointly with the Viettrade, the Vietnamese Trade Promotion Agency, to give some further impetus to the bilateral relations, to organize more and more events. Also, we have some other delegations coming from Hungary, and we can see a growing interest in the SME sector, the small and medium-sized enterprises. We just had 2 important agreements signed last year in October. One is between the Hungarian Chamber of Commerce and Industry and between HASMEA, which is the Hanoi Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Association. So they will work, and they are working now much more much stronger, and they work on matchmaking the two countries' businesses. Besides this, let me just mention another one. Hungarian ITD, the Investment and Trade Promotion Agency, signed another important agreement with Viet Trade, and in the framework of this we will work further on these issues.
And actually we're going to take a break right now, Mr. Istvan. And here's a clip about the commercial relationship between Vietnam and Hungary.
Vietnam overall tied much important to strengthen the multi-cooperation with Hungary, especially in the economic fields, a traditional partner with Vietnam in Eastern Europe. In recent years, the economic relations between two countries have achieved many significant steps forward. The total trade volume has increased from $45 million in 2005 to $145 million in 2010. It can be said that the bilateral trade volume increased rapidly, averaging about 10% per year. However, this does not commensurate the potential of both countries. In the future, Vietnam and Hungary are planning to further enhance the bilateral relation development, especially in the utilization of other strengths to support and complement each other.
Hello everyone and welcome back. So Mr. Istvan, as we talked about, the trade between Vietnam and Hungary has been growing steadily. And but obviously we face difficulties, and could you share with us some of the issues that particularly the Hungary companies have been facing?
Yeah, let me just mention one. I think the cultural differences between the two countries is quite a significant one. Besides the geographical distance, which is more than 8,000 kilometers, we have another big obstacle or barrier of trade, which is the mutual understanding of cultural differences, I would put it in this way. And for Hungarian businessmen, I think it is still a big task to understand Vietnamese culture. When they come here, they have to get used to the working habits, to the negotiating style, and to the time consumption of a contract to be signed.
And I think you touched on a good point. The cultural differences sometimes create barriers in business, but understanding will promote that, that trade. And I just want to ask you, that's one of the issues. What are solutions to this issue?
I think we have to be very patient with each other, and we have to learn each other's habits and methods and ways of thinking. And for this, the two countries also have an educational role. I think education is a good base for the cross-cultural communication to be a little bit more adaptive between the two countries. So I think we need, it's out of economic topics, but maybe a little bit related, education, that we need a lot more scholarships and
I definitely agree.
A lot more students to go to Hungary to learn, to catch up with the lifestyle in Hungary. I think that would work. And in the past, mainly in the 70s and 60s, thousands of Vietnamese students visited Hungary, went there, and now they speak the language, they like the country, and in fact they make a real core of the business society in Vietnam, which is in a business connection with Hungarians.
So Mr. Istvan, that's all the time we have today. So just to conclude our show, would you like to share any final message with our audience?
Yes, my first message is that above all I would like to thank all the Vietnamese people I met already for their hospitality and friendliness and openness. I really appreciate it, and I think that as a foreigner it's a real joy to live in Vietnam. So firstly, thank you for this. Secondly, I have another message. I would encourage Vietnamese people, citizens, businessmen, to go and visit Hungary. If you have the possibility, you will see that Hungary, Budapest, is a magnificent country, and you will enjoy being there. And I just suggest to go there and experience it and feel how it is to be in Hungary.
So Istvan, that's all the time we have. Again, thank you very much for joining our show.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
And that concludes our show for today. Thank you for watching Sharing Vietnam. From all of us from NetVid Channel VTC 10, I'm John Chun. Live for today, and we'll see you tomorrow.